Hello everyone, I'm Michael Serapio. The issue of foreign interference was front and center on this third day of the federal election campaign, with the Globe and Mail reporting the following, quote, agents of India and their proxies allegedly meddled in the 2022 election of Pierre Poilievre as Conservative Party leader as part of a larger effort to cozy up to politicians of all parties. Now, in reporting that, the Globe and Mail cites an unnamed source who the outlet says had national security clearance, and the Globe and Mail goes on to say CSIS learned that Indian agents raised money and organized to help Poilievre's leadership bid. To that issue, take a listen to what we heard from the Conservative leader today.
First of all, let's quote from that Globe and Mail article. I'm going to quote here. CSIS also did not have evidence that Mr. Poilievre or members of his inner circle were aware of these alleged actions. Then I'm going to quote the Hogue Commission, and I quote, the Commission heard testimony about allegations of the government India interference in the Conservative Party leadership race. CSIS witnesses noted that they had no reason to believe the impacted candidates would have been aware of the alleged support. Let's be honest. I won the leadership fair and square. Even my political competitors, like Mr. Patrick Brown, have publicly testified under oath that that was the case.
Now, the Liberal leader was also asked about potential Indian interference and whether or not it had anything to do with the Liberal Party's decision to disqualify former Liberal MP Chandra Arya from running in this election. Mr. Carney is now running in the riding once represented by Mr. Arya. He did not go into such great detail, but this is what he had to say to the issue of foreign interference.
President Trump, I find it beyond baffling. I find it downright irresponsible that the leader of the opposition, day after day, month after month, year after year, refuses to obtain his security clearance. As a normal course in peacetime when times were tranquil, that's unacceptable then. But at this point in our history, when we face the greatest threats that we faced in generations in most of our lifetimes, he has to answer for that.
And we should also note that both the NDP and the Bloc Québécois leaders were asked about the Globe and Mail story, again on allegations of Indian interference today. Here's what we heard from both Jagmeet Singh and Yves-François Blanchet.
Well, we had heard of these allegations before, and I had said at the time, and I maintain this, just the allegations alone should have made Pierre Poilievre say, well, there's allegations of foreign interference impacting my own leadership race. If you care about the country, if you care about democracy, you would get a security clearance and find out as much as possible to protect our country. But he chose not to. And the only reason he chose not to is because he wanted to put his party and his partisan interests ahead of the country. That, to me, disqualifies you as a prime minister candidate. It's not someone that we can trust to stand up to foreign interference. And he has shown that, and this new information confirms that. He is not someone that takes the threats against our country seriously. And it is not someone that we can trust to be the Prime Minister.
Speaking about manipulation without care, we cannot prove, but we tend to believe that there might have been some Indian intrusion in the Pierre Poilievre's campaign in order to become leader of the Conservatives. I do not know. I read, as you do. We believe that the Liberals were very close to Beijing. We believe. We do not know. Some people that seem to know in the intelligence agencies in Canada were worried enough about that to give information to the Globe and Mail more than once. It must mean something. They are careless about national security and about intrusion of foreign powers into the affairs of their own parties.